If you've watched my earlier video about the Honda CB1000GT, today I've got to admit something. I misread this motorcycle. The deeper I dug into the numbers, the clearer it became that Honda is actually doing something far bigger than it first appeared, something that might shift the direction of the sport touring segment in the next few years. And interestingly, it wasn't just me. A lot of other reviewers were also thrown off by the visual impression, which turned out to be pretty misleading. When I first saw the bike, my reaction was spontaneous. It looked tall, a bit crossover-ish, and carried this subtle adventure touring vibe. In the promo shots, the bodywork looked big, the front fairing was chunky, the windscreen stood tall, and overall it gave off a half-sport tourer, half-adventure silhouette. And because it debuted right next to a bunch of upright models at EMA, I immediately grouped it under the crossover touring revival trend. It felt like Honda was playing it safe, some sport, some touring, some crossover, but everything changed once I started digging into the geometry and chassis data. As soon as I saw the numbers, seat height, wheelbase, suspension travel, weight, and engine character, every initial assumption collapsed. Honda never intended the CB1000GT to be a tall rounder, let alone a semi-adventure bike. They actually built a modern, classic-style sport tourer with a very clear design and mechanical foundation. The seat height is 825mm, nowhere near the tall bike category. The 1,465mm wheelbase gives it that long, planted stability you expect from a traditional sport tourer. The suspension travel is short, exactly what you'd find on a road-focused machine, not a crossover. The curb weight sits around 229 kilograms, which is light for a 4-cylinder sport tourer and very stable for long-distance riding. And the engine is a 1000cc inline-four, pushing close to 150 horsepower and over 100 Nm of torque. All of this points in one direction. This bike is designed for asphalt, not mixed terrain. Clarifying, there's one thing worth clarifying about the fairing. The CB1000GT isn't running a huge full-dress touring fairing, but it absolutely uses a modern full fairing, not a semi-fairing like many people assumed. The panels cover the upper and mid-engine area with wide surfaces flowing from the headlamp section to the sides. This is exactly where modern sport tour design is heading. Rivals like the Kawasaki Ninja 1000SX and Suzuki GSX R1000GT follow the same formula: large upper and mid fairings, strong wind protection, and an intentionally exposed lower engine area for a sportier look and lighter weight. Even the BMW R1300 RS uses a similar philosophy, albeit with a more minimal execution. Viewed from the side, the CB1000GT's fairing drops low enough to divert airflow away from the rider's legs and torso, while keeping the bike visually aggressive without completely burying the engine. So, no, this isn't a semi-fairing or half-ADV design. It fits perfectly within modern sport touring language. So why does it look taller than it really is? Simple, visual illusion. The thick front fairing, the large windscreen, the promo shot camera angles, and the factory panniers create a silhouette that reads like a hybrid between sport and adventure. But once you look at the actual dimensions, that illusion disappears. This is a low bike much closer to a traditional sport tourer, just wrapped in a modern form that makes it look bulkier than it really is. What makes the whole thing even more interesting is the context. For the last decade, the global market has shifted heavily toward upright bikes, taller models that are more universal, more flexible, and appeal to a wider range of riders. Manufacturers followed that momentum. Building tall bikes is easier, cheaper to diversify, and more popular. As a result, low sport tourers have become increasingly rare, even considered a fading format. And at this moment, Honda decides to go the opposite direction. They didn't follow the market trend. They revived the low, stable inline-four sport tourer with a modern fairing and a 100% asphalt-focused mission. A format most brands have quietly stepped away from. Honda brings it back with full commitment. This isn't just another new model, it's a statement that true sport touring still matters, still has fans, and isn't going anywhere. With all this in mind, the CB1000GT's identity becomes very clear. It's not a crossover, not a tall rounder, not an adventure light. It is a true sport tourer and not a generic one that's trying to fit the role. The CB1000GT sits right alongside bikes like the Kawasaki Ninja 1100SX, BMW R1300 RS, and Suzuki GSX S1000GT. Every motorcycle in this class shares the same traits: low geometry, 17-inch wheels, moderate suspension travel, road-focused engines, and high-speed stability as the top priority. And the CB1000GT fits perfectly into that family, not into the taller XR, GX, or Tracer groups. So where did I get it wrong? I focused too much on the visuals. I read the market trend louder than I read the geometry. I jumped too quickly to the crossover label just because the silhouette looked a bit bulky. Once I checked everything properly, the bike's true character became obvious: low, stable, sporty, and built for asphalt from start to finish. And honestly, I'm glad. We're not watching sport touring disappear, we're watching it evolve. The Honda CB1000GT proves that this format is still alive, still relevant, and still capable of looking modern without losing its identity. Now I want to hear from you. Did you also misread the CB1000GT at first glance? Or did you already sense it was a true sport tourer from the beginning? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know how you see this bike. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. See you in the next one.